talking about neural coordination. Under this you learnt about the structure of brain and functions of brain. Then you learnt about the spinal cord, Then spinal nerves, like in human being there are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Cervical 8 pairs, thoracic 12 pairs, lumbar 5 pairs, sacral 5 pairs and coccygeal 1. Now these spinal nerves, some of them unite with each other to form certain plexuses. Like you have a plexus called cervical plexus. It is formed by the union of first to fourth cervical spinal nerves. Cervical plexus provides nerve fibers to diaphragm and neck. Then next you have brachial plexus. It is formed by the union of fifth to eighth cervical spinal nerves and first thoracic spinal nerves. Brachial plexus provides nerve fibers to the forelimbs and pectoral girdle or shoulder girdle. Okay. Then next you have lumbar plexus. Lumbar plexus is formed by the union of four lumbar spinal nerves L1, L2, L3, L4. Lumbar plexus provides nerve fibers to the hind limbs. Then you have sacral plexus. Sacral plexus is formed by the union of branches of L4 and L5 and three sacral spinal nerves. Branches of L4 and L5 unite with S1, S2, S3, S4 to form sacral plexus. Sacral plexus provides nerve fibers to the sacrum or pelvis region. Then next you have coccygeal plexus, which is also called sciatic plexus, formed by the union of S4 and S5 and the last coccyx, that is one coccygeal. Okay, all of them unite to form coccygeal plexus. Coccygeal plexus provides nerve fibers to, or sciatic plexus provides nerve fibers to the skin of the pelvis region. Now I made a mention already, most important point even EAMCET and other exam point of view. Injury to brachial plexus results in wrist drop, and injury to coccygeal or sciatic plexus results in foot drop. Okay, that is sprain in the wrist and the foot, sprain in the ankle region. Then now we'll talk about autonomic nervous system, which consists of both sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. Now the sympathetic system nervous system consists of preganglionic nerve fibers, postganglionic nerve fibers, sympathetic chain, with sympathetic ganglions, which are also called chain ganglions. Sympathetic ganglions are chain ganglions. Then you have three collateral ganglions, which are also called prevertebral ganglions. So it has got preganglionic nerve fibers, postganglionic nerve fibers, a sympathetic chain with a series of sympathetic ganglions which are called chain ganglions or sympathetic ganglions. Then three collateral, three pairs, three this side and three on the other side of the vertebral column. Three collateral ganglions are also called prevertebral ganglions. Now the sympathetic chain extends on either side of vertebral column, or you can say on either side of the dorsal aorta. Now the sympathetic chain consists of a series of sympathetic ganglions. So all these are sympathetic ganglions. There are three cervical ganglions, inferior cervical, superior cervical and median cervical. And there are about 12 thoracic ganglions, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All these are thoracic ganglions. So these are all thoracic ganglions, and these are cervical ganglions. Then next you have about 3 to 4 lumbar ganglions. So these are lumbar ganglions. So it consists of around say 21 to 25 ganglions are there altogether here now. Among these 25 ganglions, some of them are situated within the sympathetic chain, where you have 3 thoracic ganglions and 3 cervical ganglions, superior cervical, inferior cervical, and median cervical. Then 12 thoracic ganglions here now, and about 3 to 4 lumbar ganglions. Apart from this, there are 3 collateral ganglions or prevertebral ganglions here now. Now each sympathetic ganglion is connected to corresponding spinal nerve by ramus communicans. Okay, suppose this is the vertebral column here now. You have a vertebral column here. So these are the vertebrae. There you have about say 33 vertebrae, 26 free vertebrae here now. So each sympathetic ganglion is connected to corresponding spinal nerve by ramus communicans. By ramus communicans. Each sympathetic ganglion is connected to corresponding spinal nerve by ramus communicans. The nerve fibers that are embedded in ramus communicans, as you learnt in the previous class, visceral sensor and visceral motor, both of them put together are called preganglionic nerve fibers because they are present before the sympathetic ganglion. And it is also called white ramus communicans because they are all myelinated nerve fibers here. Since the nerve fibers embedded in the ramus communicans are myelinated, that is also called white ramus communicans. Now these preganglionic nerve fibers, these are all preganglionic nerve fibers. They form synapse with postganglionic nerve fibers. So these are all postganglionic nerve fibers. Postganglionic nerve fibers. So the nerve fibers given off from sympathetic ganglion are called postganglionic nerve fibers. The nerve fibers present before the sympathetic ganglion are called preganglionic nerve fibers. Preganglion nerve fibers are embedded within the ramus communicans. Postganglionic nerve fibers are embedded within gray ramus communicans. You can call this white ramus communicans and this can be called gray ramus communicans because all these are non-myelinated, so we call them gray ramus communicans. Now these postganglion nerve fibers innervate various organs. Now the postganglion nerve fibers of superior cervical, inferior cervical and median cervical, all of them innervate iris, ciliary body, lacrimal, nasal mucosa, oral mucosa and 3 salivary glands. All the 3 salivary glands: iris, ciliary body, lacrimal gland, nasal mucosa, oral mucosa, and all the 3 salivary glands of human being, that is submaxillary, sublingual and parotid salivary glands. So the postganglion nerve fibers extend up to this. Then you have the upper thoracic here now. In the same way, you have preganglion nerve fibers here. All these are the preganglionic nerve fibers. Okay, in turn you have postganglionic nerve fibers. The postganglionic nerve fibers that arise from upper thoracic ganglions, upper thoracic sympathetic ganglions. The postganglion nerve fibers that arise from upper thoracic sympathetic ganglions, they innervate heart and lungs. They innervate heart and lungs. Now lower thoracic, in case of lower thoracic and upper lumbar, the preganglion nerve fibers directly traverse through these ganglion. They don't end at the ganglionic level, they traverse through the sympathetic ganglions, you know. All of them traverse through the sympathetic, they don't terminate at sympathetic ganglion level, they traverse through the sympathetic ganglion and extend up to the visceral organs, you know. Such nerves are called splanchnic nerves. So the nerve fibers, if they don't extend up to the sympathetic ganglion, okay, unlike the previous ones, if they simply traverse through the sympathetic ganglion and extend up to the visceral organs, you call such preganglion nerve fibers splanchnic nerves, you know. Now these splanchnic nerves form synapse with celiac ganglion and superior mesentery ganglion. Celiac ganglion and superior mesenteric ganglion, you know. Postganglionic nerve fibers given off from this. Postganglionic nerve fibers given off from celiac ganglion and superior mesenteric ganglion, they innervate esophagus, stomach, small intestine, liver, pancreas, adrenal, spleen, upper part of large intestine. So here the preganglionic nerve fibers are passing through the lower thoracic and upper lumbar. Sympathetic ganglions, they don't terminate at the sympathetic ganglion level. They merely pass through the sympathetic ganglions of lower thoracic and upper lumbar region. They extend up to visceral organs. Such preganglionic nerve fibers are known as splanchnic nerves. Now these splanchnic nerves form synapse with the postganglionic nerve fibers that are given off from celiac ganglion and superior mesenteric ganglion, you know. Now these postganglion nerve fibers innervate esophagus, stomach, small intestine, liver, pancreas, adrenal, spleen, upper part of large intestine, you know. In the same way, the remaining, you know, like that is lower lumbar, lower thoracic and upper lumbar, lower thoracic and the lumbar region. Even these are referred to as, all these are also referred to as splanchnic nerves, and they extend up to visceral organs. Here they form synapse with postganglionic nerve fibers within inferior mesenteric ganglion. Here. So here you have cervical, the postganglion nerve fibers of superior cervical, median cervical, inferior cervical. They go to iris, ciliary body, lacrimal gland, nasal mucosa, oral mucosa, 3 pairs of salivary glands. Then upper thoracic postganglionic nerve fibers are supplied to heart and lungs. Lower thoracic and upper lumbar are supplied to celiac ganglion and superior mesenteric ganglion. Here the nerves are known as splanchnic nerves because they are nothing but the preganglionic nerve fibers arising from the vertebral column, merely passing the sympathetic ganglions, you know. Then at the level of celiac ganglion and superior mesenteric, they form synapse with the postganglion nerve fibers. All these postganglion nerve fibers which I have drawn here, they are supplied to esophagus, stomach, duodenum, ileum, that is small intestine, liver, pancreas, okay, adrenal, spleen and upper part of large intestine, you know. Then lower lumbar region, even lower lumbar region also, the preganglionic nerve fibers of the spinal cord merely pass through the sympathetic ganglions of our lower lumbar region. Such nerves are called splanchnic nerves. They extend up to visceral organs. Near visceral organs, they form synapse with the postganglionic nerve fibers at inferior mesenteric ganglion level. Now these postganglionic nerve fibers are supplied to lower part of large intestine, like you can say rectum, colon and all. Then gonads, testis and ovary, then urinary bladder, okay, urethra, reproductive organs, external, that is external genitalia, reproductive organs. Yes. So like that, the lower lumbar splanchnic nerves form synapse with the postganglionic nerve fibers at inferior mesenteric ganglion level, and all these postganglionic nerve fibers that are given off from inferior mesenteric ganglion are supplied to lower part of large intestine, gonads like testis and ovary, urinary bladder, urethra, and the reproductive organ, external genital organs. Okay, like you have the organization of sympathetic system. In the sympathetic system, you can notice in this even the diagram here now, most of the ganglions are scattered only in the thoracic region and lumbar region. That's why sympathetic system is also called thoracolumbar outflow. Thoracolumbar outflow. It is called thoracolumbar outflow. Now this system by and large has accelerating effect on the visceral organ. That's why it is also called accelerator system. Sympathetic system is also called accelerator system here now. Then in sympathetic system here now, all these preganglionic nerve fibers, nerve fibers here now, which are I've shown here, all of them secrete acetylcholine, while most of the postganglionic nerve fibers secrete adrenaline here now. Most of the postganglionic nerve fibers of sympathetic system, except that of sweat glands here now, they secrete adrenaline. That's why this system is also called adrenergic nervous system. This is also called adrenergic nervous system. So they are the synonyms of sympathetic system: adrenergic nervous system, thoracolumbar outflow, or accelerator system here. This is regard to organization of sympathetic system here now. The parasympathetic system here now. Parasympathetic system also consists of parasympathetic ganglions, preganglionic nerve fibers, and postganglionic nerve fibers. Now you can make out in this sketch here now, these are all ganglions of parasympathetic system. You have ciliary ganglion, pterygopalatine ganglion, which is also called sphenopalatine ganglion, submaxillary ganglion, aortic ganglion, jugular ganglion, and pelvic ganglion here now. Now these ganglions give rise to two types of nerve fibers: preganglionic nerve fibers, all of them are preganglionic nerve fibers, and in turn they give rise to the postganglionic nerve fibers. All these are postganglionic nerve fibers. Now in the parasympathetic system, all these parasympathetic ganglions are in the vicinity of visceral organs. As a result, postganglionic nerve fibers are short, while preganglionic nerve fibers are long. Postganglionic nerve fibers are short and preganglionic nerve fibers are short. The preganglionic nerve fibers of parasympathetic system are associated with certain cranial nerves and spinal nerves. That's why it is also called craniosacral outflow. Craniosacral outflow. Since the preganglionic nerve fibers of these ganglions are associated with cranial and spinal nerves, it is called craniosacral outflow. Now all these postganglion nerve fibers of parasympathetic system, they secrete acetylcholine, hence it is also called cholinergic nervous system. Hence it is also called cholinergic nervous system. And by and large it has inhibitory effect on most of the organs. That's why it is also called inhibitory system here now. Now the first one, if we take the ciliary ganglion here now, the preganglionic nerve fibers of ciliary ganglion accompany third cranial nerve. They are associated with the third cranial nerve. So third cranial nerve is olfactory, optic, oculomotor. They are associated with oculomotor cranial nerve. They extend along with the oculomotor and thereby terminate in the region from where they are given off. They are given off from the midbrain, so they go and get terminated in the midbrain here now. Okay, then the postganglionic nerve fibers of ciliary ganglion are supplied to iris and ciliary body. Are supplied to iris and ciliary body here now. Then the preganglionic nerve fibers of pterygopalatine ganglion or sphenopalatine ganglion, they accompany seventh cranial nerve here now. They accompany seventh cranial nerve. So they are associated with seventh cranial nerve here now. And their postganglionic nerve fibers, these are all postganglion nerve fibers, they innervate lacrimal gland and nasal mucosa. They innervate lacrimal gland and nasal mucosa. Then you got submaxillary ganglion here now. The pre-GNF, pre-ganglionic nerve fibers of submaxillary ganglion accompany 7th cranial nerve. They are also associated with 7th cranial nerve, and their post-ganglionic nerve fibers are supplied to submaxillary and sublingual salivary gland. Okay, they are supplied to submaxillary and sublingual salivary glands, you know. Then you have an aortic ganglion. Preganglionic nerve fibers of aortic ganglion accompany 9th cranial nerve, the glossopharyngeal, that is 9th cranial nerve. The postganglionic nerve fibers of aortic ganglion are supplied to oral mucosa and parotid salivary gland. Parotid salivary gland are supplied to oral mucosa and parotid salivary gland here now. Then next you have jugular ganglion. This is the jugular ganglion here now. The preganglionic nerve fibers of jugular ganglion, they are associated with 10th cranial nerve, which is the longest cranial nerve in human body. There is a vagus here now. So they are associated with 10th cranial nerve, and their postganglionic nerve fibers, are supplied to heart, lungs, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, liver, pancreas, adrenal, spleen. So all these organs get nerve fibers from the jugular ganglion. So all the postganglion nerve fibers are supplied to heart, lungs, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, liver, pancreas, adrenal and spleen here now. Then I got pelvic ganglion here now. The preganglionic nerve fibers, of pelvic ganglion are associated with 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th sacral spinal nerves. So here pelvic ganglion, the preganglionic nerve fibers of pelvic ganglion are associated with 3rd, 3, 4, 5 sacral spinal nerves. 3, 4, 5 sacral spinal nerves, you know. And their postganglion nerve fibers are supplied to large intestine, gonads, urinary bladder, external genitalia. Like that, these preganglionic nerve fibers of parasympathetic system are associated with 3, 7, 9, 10 cranial nerves, and 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Okay, here the sacral spinal nerves are 2, 3, 4. 2nd, 3rd, 4th sacral spinal nerves, you know. 2nd, 3rd, 4th sacral spinal nerves, you know. Not 3rd one, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. It is not 3rd, 4th, 5th, you know. It is 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th sacral spinal nerves, 3, 7, 9, 10 cranial nerves are involved in the formation of parasympathetic system, you know. Their preganglion nerve fibers are associated with 3, 7, 9, 10 cranial nerves and 2, 3, 4 sacral spinal nerves, you know. And their postganglion nerve fibers innervate all these organs, you know. They regulate the functioning of all these organs by secreting acetylcholine. That's why it is also called cholinergic nervous system. As I made a mention earlier, the preganglionic nerve fibers of both sympathetic system and parasympathetic system, they secrete acetylcholine. The postganglionic nerve fibers of sympathetic system secrete adrenaline or epinephrine, and hence they are called adrenergic. Postganglionic nerve fibers of parasympathetic system secretes acetylcholine, hence they are called cholinergic, you know. Now we shall talk about the functions of sympathetic and parasympathetic system. They are most important points, EAMCET, AA, PIMT, JIPMER and AIMS point of view. The most important functions I shall put before you. Now to start with here now, I will make a tabular form. The organ influenced sympathetic system, parasympathetic system. Now the synonyms of the system you have learnt already. Sympathetic system is also called accelerator system. It is also called thoracolumbar outflow. Okay, where preganglionic nerve fibers are short, postganglionic nerve fibers are long. Postganglionic nerve fibers are long. Now in this, it is also called inhibitor system, craniosacral outflow, pre-GNF are long, post-GNF are short. Now if you take organs influenced, first if you take heart, it increases heartbeat and this one decreases heartbeat. Parasympathetic system decreases heartbeat, sympathetic system increases heartbeat. Next you have blood vessels. It constricts the blood vessels. Most of the blood vessels are constricted by this and thereby increases blood pressure, whereas this dilates the blood vessels and by lowers blood pressure. Lowers blood pressure. Next you have pupil. This dilates the pupil. This constricts the pupil. Parasympathetic system constricts the pupil here now. Next you have bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli. Bronchi, alveoli, etc. They dilate. Sympathetic system dilates all of them. Parasympathetic system constricts all of them. Dilates and thereby facilitates inspiration. It constricts and thereby facilitates expiration here now. Next you have urinary bladder. It relaxes the urinary bladder and constricts its sphincter. Constricts its sphincter. Relaxes the muscles of urinary bladder, dilates urinary bladder, ensures collection of urine but constricts its sphincter. And this contracts urinary bladder, dilates its sphincter, to facilitate micturition. It contracts urinary bladder, dilates the urinary sphincter, both external sphincter and internal sphincter, internal sphincter preferably, and thereby facilitates micturition here now. Next one is coronary artery. It dilates the coronary artery and thereby ensures supply of blood to the heart muscles for vigorous functioning here now. And this one constricts the coronary artery. Constricts the coronary artery here now. Then next you have piloerector muscles. Piloerector muscles. It contracts these muscles. It makes the muscles contract and thereby ensures piloerection here now. Sympathetic system ensures contraction of piloerector muscles and thereby ensures piloerection here now. It makes the hair flat and thereby restores normal conditions here now. Makes the hair flat and thereby restores normal condition. So piloerector muscles here now, it contracts the, started So it brings about contraction of erectile muscles and thereby imparts piloerection here now, and the normal conditions are brought about by parasympathetic system by making the hair flat. Then other organs here now, salivary juice, it decreases salivary juice and increases salivary juice. So with regard to this, digestive juices, sympathetic system has inhibitory effect. So it decreases salivary juice, increases salivary juice. Pancreatic juice, it decreases, and parasympathetic system increases. Then intestinal juice, it decreases, parasympathetic system increases. The next gastric juice, it decreases secretion and it increases the secretion of gastric juice, you know. So gastric juice secretion, sympathetic system decreases gastric juice secretion, parasympathetic increases gastric juice secretion here now. The next you take bile juice, it decreases bile juice secretion, however facilitates release of glucose from liver. That is, it brings about glycogenolysis, facilitates breakdown of glycogen to form glucose and thereby ensures release of glucose from liver, but decreases secretion of bile juice, you know. Then this increases secretion of bile juice, increases bile juice secretion, but however converts glucose into glycogen. That is, it brings about conservation of glycogen by promoting glycogenesis process, you know. The next you have organ kidney. It stimulates the juxtaglomerular apparatus to secrete renin. It stimulates the juxtaglomerular apparatus of kidney and thereby ensures formation of renin, and this decreases the secretion of renin here. Decreases secretion of renin. Decreases secretion of renin here now. Then next you have peristalsis. It decreases peristalsis, whereas the system increases peristaltic movement here. Sympathetic system decreases peristaltic movement, parasympathetic system increases peristaltic movement here now. Then skeletal muscles, blood vessels of skeletal muscles, here now, it dilates those blood vessels. Unlike the other blood vessels, you know, with regard to skeletal muscles, all the blood vessels are dilated under the influence of sympathetic system, and under influence of parasympathetic system they are subjected to contraction, you know. So they contract the blood vessels of skeletal muscles, you know. So these are the most important functions of sympathetic system and parasympathetic. Above all, one more point can be added which is important, AIIMS, JIPMER and AIPMT point of view. Sympathetic system facilitates expenditure of ATP, whereas parasympathetic system facilitates conservation of ATP here now. Parasympathetic system facilitates conservation of ATP here.